Listen to the wind blow, watch the sun rise. Run in the shadows, damn your love, damn your love. And if you don't love me now, you will never love me again. I can still hear you say it, you'll never break the chain. And if you don't love me now, you will never love me again. I can still hear you say, I can still hear you say, I can still hear you say.
Rock stars, welcome. It is September the 14th. It's been a little while. I'm really glad that you've hung in there with me. We have moved our studios, so this is the new studio that you guys might have seen on Instagram. I just did a short little video. It's like literally the first time that you guys are seeing it. And we are so excited. So thank you so much for being patient with us. But we're back in action. Our studio room here is a lot smaller, but it's a lot more efficient. It's business only. It's awesome. And then we have a couple other rooms here. We're going to be doing photography and some other stuff for UGS and some other folks. So welcome. So glad you're here. We're going to have a blast today. A couple things to tell you about before we get started. What you heard just now was my band, Gabriel the Bull, and the solo specifically, I'm going to show you how to do that, okay, today, along with two other solos that are built on arpeggios. So you've heard folks talk about this a lot, talking about arpeggios and that it's good to know the chords behind what's going on, what it is that you're hearing, because just like in a conversation, if you're going one way in a conversation and I'm not going with you, that conversation's going to get weird, right? So important to pivot, right? As Ron Burgundy says, keep your head on a swivel. It's important, which we need that right now with what's going on in the world, right? Got to keep your head on a swivel. So, same thing, when we're playing, if we're hearing a C major chord, if that's what's playing, then playing according to that C major chord is going to make that solo sound better, just like the conversation's going to sound better. If we start riffing and you start changing the subject or I start changing the subject like we do all the time in the world, right? Then it's good to be able to go and move with them and not just be stuck, right? If you're just sitting there thinking about a scale all the time, you're going to be stuck, okay? You're not going to have the same breadth, the same ability to understand what's going on in the song and how to speak intelligently with your instrument, okay? So that's what we're going to talk about today, and I've got 3 solos to show you, okay? First one was the chain that you just heard. We covered that Fleetwood Mac tune, and then a couple of originals, okay? Okay, so that's what we're doing today. Chordal solos, how to create amazing solos using arpeggios, chords only, okay? I know some people will teach it from like, oh, here's the chord and here's the riff around it, and I teach that as well, but today is literally using the chords themselves, but embellishing them just a little bit using some chord noodling, what I call chord noodling, to help you do this. Okay, that's number 1. Number 2, we have a current promotion going on right now. We have been running like chickens with our heads cut off because of the new studio. And I just got in yesterday from Florida, and so literally we set all this up just now. Mike is going to put that link in the description of the video and probably in the chat at some point here, okay? It's not in there yet, but we're going to do that here in just a moment. And when you see it go into the chat, that means it went into the description of the video as well. What is that current promotion? Well, for those who are not in the Unstoppable Guitar System already, we wanted to give you a taste of getting in there, okay? And basically, you have the $1 trial that you can check this out with. And for that $1 trial, I'm actually giving you a 40-something, I believe it's 40-something videos course for free for you forever to keep. And it's about finger picking, finger style, okay? So literally, you can get in, check out the whole enchilada, drive the Tesla for an entire month, for 30 days, get out before the 30th day if you don't want to be charged. And in addition to you getting all that good stuff for $1, including 3 live broadcasts that are private for you coming up next Wednesday, not this Wednesday, but next Wednesday, all of that's for you. A month of trying out the Unstoppable Guitar System, 3 live broadcasts that are only available to Unstoppable Guitar System members. And if you get out at the 29th day and you said, Eric, c'est la vie, that was amazing, I learned so much from you, ha ha, joke's on you, I learned all this stuff. As a gift, I'm still giving you this fingerstyle course, this finger picking course for free, and it's like 40-something videos, I believe, okay? So all of that, and Mike just put that right there in the text, in the chat, and it will also be in the description of this video. Mike, thank you so much for that, bud. Okay, so without further ado, is there anything else that I'm thinking of? Anything else? I don't know. We're going to give you a little tour of this studio eventually here, but literally this is my first day back, and Mike was working busy as a bee while I was gone, getting everything set up here, and it looks amazing, feels amazing. We're so excited, okay? So here we go. Let's start with that first solo, okay? And first, before we do that, we need to know what the chords are, right? Because in order for us to play chordal solos, and what I mean by chordal solos is we're not riffing, we're not playing, you know, just like, which I've got a lot of delay and stuff on this for a reason, but we're not riffing licks in the traditional sense. We're using the actual chord, but we're doing things to the chord, like little embellishment notes, which is not too different than riffing, like I was just doing. It's not too different than that, but in this case here, we're extending some notes out, we're holding them out, 2, 3, maybe even 4 notes at a time. So we're playing these chords, but what I like to do is I like to take this one chord and then this next chord and this next chord, and I find commonalities between those chords. And I like to exploit those commonalities. So if there's a note that resonates between these 3 chords, or 2 notes that resonate between these 2 or 3 chords, then I'm going to use those a lot. Why? Because if the chords are moving up and down and all over the place, it's nice to have a thread of continuity between these chords to make it sound way more intelligent, okay? It's just like if you're using new vocabulary words, or you're using new analogies or metaphors or whatever, using those to help bolster what it is that you're going to say is going to make it more intriguing. People are going to listen more, okay? So same thing, you can do this with your solos. Okay. Something else that I was going to say about that, I forgot what it was. Okay, so either way, I'll remember it when I get to it here in just a minute. So the chords for the chain in that part of the song that you just heard, right, are E solos that I write just have riffs in them, and they're not really written from this perspective, from these arpeggios, okay? But this particular band that I'm in, it really calls for that for 2 reasons. I tell you all the time that, you know, people say, well, what do I play? Well, it really depends on the situation. In this case here, with this band, I'm the only electric instrument. There's not another electric guitar. There's 2 acoustic guitars, drums, and vocals. So, just like Eddie, right, in Van Halen, he had to fill up a lot of spaces. That's why he was riffing and playing chords and just doing it all at the same time. Because when you're playing in a trio or you're playing in a sparse down band like that, you need to fill in some space if you want it to sound good. So, because of that, I'm writing differently for the band. And I want these chords to ring out, not riffing so much because I don't have another guitar playing underneath me, okay? So there's a reason for that. And there was another reason, daggone it, all right? Here we go. We got the going. Let me play it for you one more time just to get it fresh in your head, and then I'm going to show you how I was thinking and how I came up with the riffs for this, and how you can do the same. Friends, these solos literally write themselves. When I get done with these, Gabe, our singer, he always looks at me and he's like, "Oh, that's amazing," and he's so sweet for doing that, for saying that. But they're good. They're fulfilling solos, but I feel guilty because they kind of write themselves. And I'm gonna show you what I mean by that. Okay. So here we go. So E minor, C, and D. Right. So I'll let it play through one time, and then I'll jump in. Okay. Here we go. Here we go. Okay, so let's analyze it. We got E minor for 1 measure, C for 1 measure, D for 2 measures. Oftentimes, chord progressions will be 4 measures, 4 or 8 or 16 or 12 or 32, but usually some subdivision of 4. Okay, and in this case, this is 4. Okay, so we have 1 measure, 2 measures, 3, 4. So 1, 2. Actually, we could almost say like it's a split bar and then 1 measure, depending on how you think about it. So if you're going 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, that would be 1. Okay, one way to think about this. Okay. The other way to think about it is 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. Make sense? Okay. Either case, let's think for this first measure, right? We've got to do an E minor. So the E minor is being represented, represented in the house in E minor, right? So we have to say so as the instrumentalist. And here we go. So I've mentioned this to you before, that anytime I experience a minor chord, one of the chords that I like to substitute, okay? So you know how you can substitute something if you don't want sugar in your coffee, you might use sweet and low or honey or something like that, right? Well, you can use chord substitutions, which are chords that are similar, but they're not exactly the same, hence a substitute, right? They're not the same. A substitute teacher, everybody would razz on in school, right? They're not the same as your usual teacher who knows all your quirks and ticks. These chords are a little bit different. And so with an E minor, we can use an E add 9. I do this a lot, especially in this group. I'm using E add 9, or I'm using add 9 chords. I'll show you what that means in a minute. So here's our E minor chord, and here's our, I decided to play up, further up the neck. Why do we do that as guitar players? Because those frequencies down here are taken care of, right? There's things going on down here. We want the higher frequencies to, especially with a solo, what we want to be able to do is we want those frequencies to reach out to your ear so we get them above the fray, if you will. Same thing with an orchestra. You got the double bass and you got the violas and you got the violin or the cello. Double bass, cellos, violas, violins, you know, and on up. Because everybody has their little spectrum, their little frequency spectrum, okay? So, here you go. Here's an E minor. You guys would know this from the cage system, right? It's just, here's an E minor, here's an E minor. If we take this first finger and we lift it up, like that, then now we have an E9 chord, or an E add 9. It's not really an E9 chord, it's an E add 9, which basically just means we're adding a 9 to it. That's the 9. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Okay, there it is. And so this first riff, what I'm doing is, we don't have to play the whole chord. We just need to play some notes that are in it. So what I decided to do is I'm going to play that chord, but I'm only going to play strings 2, 3, and 4. Now let me allow you into my brain a little bit. Come on in. No, don't be scared. It's safe in there. No, it's not. So here's the deal. Oftentimes when I'm crafting a solo like this one, what I will do is I will exploit certain things about the guitar. Like for instance, if I'm going to write a solo here, I might say I'm just going to do it on strings 1, 2, and 3, or 2, 3, and 4. And I do that for a specific reason. One might say, well, why would you limit yourself like that, Eric? For this reason. If someone says, and I know you've done this before, you go to class and your teacher says, hey, I want you to do this report. It's due tomorrow. And you're like, okay, well, how long does it have to be? Parameter. Well, what does it need to be about? Parameter. Well, can it be double spaced? Parameter. Like, there's all these questions that you want to ask, because once you know those things, then you know you're following the rules, you know, for your teacher, and you're good. Well, in the same way, art likes continuity, it likes patterns. This is why we like art, right? Because there's continuity and there's patterns. And in the same way, when we're creating a solo, if we exploit certain ideas like this, like just playing on a few different strings, especially in this case here, it's going to make it sound more thought out. It's just going to make it sound more cohesive, okay? So let me show you what I did here. So this chord, that 9 chord, add 9 chord, is literally what I'm going to be using for this E minor, okay? Now, the next chord is a C major chord. Now, what I'm doing is I'm trying not to chord. I'm trying not to play like that. I'm trying to play in one area of the neck so all of the notes kind of mesh together and sound nice, okay? So in this case here, what I did is I moved up this note. So for the E minor, I go. And then I take this note and bring it up, okay? I bring it up from a B to a C. The reason I did that is the next chord is a C major. C chord, here's a C chord. And so I went from this, which represents our E minor, and then this, which represents our C major. Now, I left this note in here. It's not in the E minor. It's not in the C chord. This is where we get into chord noodling, right? This is where bringing in some of those other notes is actually going to make the whole enchilada sound better, because you have a few notes that are bringing you along, making you feel good, but we got to have some sort of diversity, right? We got to have something. If something's too elementary, it's the reason why we don't like children's songs. The real elementary children's songs is because they're kind of boring, right? Whereas children love it because their ears have not been exposed to other types of music yet. So they're learning. It's just like food, right? So, but we want some dissonance in here. We want something that's going to be exciting. Because this is the chord that I'm playing, right? These are just the chords that I'm playing. That represents E minor. That represents C major. Okay? And I'm keeping this guy in here for the continuity. It goes by that quickly, right? And then I've got a D chord. And what I'm doing for that D chord is I'm going. Okay? Now, let me think why it is that I came up with that. Okay, so for this one, it's a little bit more traditional. Now, it took me a minute to think about that because I'm not being so analytical when I'm creating stuff like this. At this point in my playing, in my life, it's fairly free-flowing. So I'm not like thinking, okay, I'm gonna do this. It's just become part of my playing. Okay, and it will for you too if you practice this stuff. But, so for that other lick, there's this call and response thing going on. Here's the call, the response, and then bringing it home. Okay? That's what that is. Just like in blues, we might play the same riff twice, and then the third time we change it up. It's very common in music. So, for this part here, there are these two notes, right, are out of the D major chord. So yet I'm still bringing in some bits from that chord, but my mind is not thinking, okay, D major chord, like I did for the E minor and the C major. I'm not thinking that with the D, I'm just bringing it back home, if you will. So, again, E minor for 2, C for 2, D for 4. 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, sorry, E minor, C, D. E minor, C. And I resolve it on an E because that's what key the tune is in, and that's how, and it just decrescendos right there with a big diamond, bam! And it's gonna sound good if I do that, okay? That's why I did that. Okay, any other bits that I want to show you about this? A couple things to notice is this whole solo was on strings 2, 3, and 4, and not way up here. It was just kind of in the middle, again, because if I'm playing way up here, and I'm playing single note riffs, and I've got nothing underneath me, it's gonna sound a little weird. But this sort of solo really fits the band well, okay? I feel like there was something else I was gonna tell you. I'm gonna get to some questions here. I'm gonna do that for each one of these three because they're gonna be individual questions, probably for each one of these solos. So I'm gonna do that, okay? And is there anything else I want to tell you about that? No, there is not. I don't think. Okay, so now let me look for some questions here from you guys. We have a new place for our monitor, so I'm not looking to the side anymore. I'm just looking right underneath it. But let's go. Here we go. If you would too, all caps and a question mark might make it a little bit easier for me. But either way, I'm looking for your questions. Okay. This is the best green screen y'all could come up with. Ha! That's not a green screen, friend. That's just a screen. But we can make it green if you'd like. We can do all sorts of things with it. Okay, yeah, sorry we had some audio issues there. Again, new studio, man.
Shot 2 had no audio for about 10 seconds.
What's that?
Shot 2.
Oh, had no audio. Okay, cool.
10 seconds.
All right, that's right. We good.
My bad.
That's right. Did he say the chords? Yeah, E minor, C, and D. E minor, D, and C. We got two other solos that we're doing too as well. And friends, for those of you that you're like, I got it. Let's get on to the next one. Let me answer a couple questions here, but if you want, check out the link that Mike put in the description of this video. It's also in the chat, but essentially it's a current promo that we're doing right now for the Unstoppable Guitar System. Obviously you can get in there for $1. We talked about this for 30 days. Try it out the 29th day, get the heck out if you don't want to be charged, and you get to take advantage of the whole course for for 29 days, something like that. And then you have 3 live broadcasts with me next Wednesday. And in addition, I'm giving you the entire How to Play Fingerstyle Guitar series from the Unstoppable Guitar System for you for free for whatever. It's at least a $20 value, but it's like 40 something lessons. So it's, you know, if you were to visit me personally, it's going to be hundreds of dollars, probably thousands of dollars. Honestly, I'm not joking, because at this point I'm charging a lot for one-on-one lessons just because I don't have a lot of time. Not that I'm some badass or something. It's just I don't have a lot of time to do it. Okay. Oh, thank you so much, Sujash. Thank you. Add 9 or sus2. Yeah, so people will call them the same thing, but technically a sus2 would have, it would be, a sus2 would be like this. So about like a C major. That'd be a sus2 because instead of a 3, I'm playing a 2. There's the 3, here's the 2. Right? Whereas a C add 9 is. So it has a slightly different tone to it. Okay. Is there a way to train your ear to hear the different chord notes? I still have not been able to get at that level. David, so I've been playing for, coming up on 40 years here, and I can't say that I can just go, oh, that's an E minor chord, that's a C major, that's a D. What I can hear with some decent accuracy is the 1 chord and the 4 chord and the 5 chord, the minor chord, the 6 minor, the 2 minor, 3 minor. I usually can get that sort of thing. And honestly, that's more what you don't know that you're talking about this, but that's what you're talking about. You're talking about context. So an E minor chord in the key of E minor is a 1 chord, and it's the king, and it's the chord that all the other notes, the other chords dance around. But in the key of A minor, it's not the 1, okay? And it's the 5 chord if we're thinking about A as the tonal center. So yes, you can get good at this, but it's literally doing the stuff, okay? It's literally, as you're going along, identifying what the chord is, saying what the name is, and going down those rabbit holes, and your ear's gonna get better and better at this, okay? Okay, beautiful. Max, thank you so much. Likes the shirt. Okay. Very sweet sounds and very clearly explained. Beautiful, Daryl, thank you so much. Love that. And guys, listen, it's okay. So again, these notes and these chords, this is a learned thing, okay? It's a learned thing, meaning if you don't know how to do it, you just hadn't learned yet. That's literally the only reason, okay? The reason, you have a great guitar player is because they've practiced more. That's all it is. It's practice, and it's getting to know something. That's it. It's that simple. You want to do it, dig into it more. You're going to get it. Okay. The song that I was referring to just now is called "The Chain." It's from Fleetwood Mac, but Gabriel the Bull, the band that I'm in right now, covered that. Okay, and that was what you just heard. What is the secret to unlocking the fretboard? There's many secrets to it. A good guy. There's many secrets to it, and I talk about the majority of them in the course that you can get for free. YourGuitarSage.com/30. But better yet, click the link that's in the description of this video. Take advantage of the whole enchilada. I'll give you the free fingerstyle course and everything else, and you'll get all of that. 1,000+ videos, okay? Who's calling me? It's my mom. Okay. All right. Cool. Ah, beautiful. Love that. Thank you so much, Daryl. Glad that you loved that. Love the finger picking in pro. Good, Marine Mama. Thank you. From your lips to the world's ears, let the folks know. Love the songs you post in the Unstoppable Guitar group. Good to hear, Drew. Yeah, indeed, Drew. Good stuff. Okay. Okay, we're almost at the end of these questions. Yeah, okay, that's it. All right, let's get into the next one, all right? I think that helped you guys, but we're gonna look at two more, and this is really gonna help. Now, this one, Mike, I'm gonna, with the assistance from you, I'm gonna use that track, if that's cool. Is that down? You down with that?
I suppose.
Okay. Here we go. This one's called Rolling Thunder, and I'm gonna take you into the verse right before the solo, and the reason that I'm doing that is I want you guys to get a gist of how that song sounds so that when I get to the solo, you're not caught off guard, okay? Here we go. Again, this is Gabriel the Bull, and this is Rolling Thunder. Here we go. Hold on.
Sorry, like someone's to blame. I knew what I said. I'm paying the price. So don't tell me you're sorry, like someone's to blame. I knew what I signed up for. To hell with the pain, and I know how my day's gonna come. It looks nothing like that. He's gonna come by.
Okay, there you go. That one's called Rolling Thunder. You probably haven't heard it yet because it's not out yet. So that's a little sneak peek of that tune. That's called Rolling Thunder, but it will be out soon. Okay, so again, the chords in this one. Let me think what the chords are, because okay. So G minor, D sharp, so and it goes really quickly to F, D7, and back to G minor. Okay, write it down if you are confused. So 1, 2, 3, 4. So a measure of G minor, a measure of D sharp, and then a split measure of F, D7, and then back to G minor. Okay, so it starts with G minor, ends with G minor. One measure of G minor, one measure of D sharp, a split measure, right? So half and half, so 2 beats apiece. So we got F, and then 2 beats of D7, and then back to our G minor. Cool, write that down. Now, we got to come up with some sort of solo over that, right? So what I did is I said, again, using the cage system, using whatever method you use, but you know these patterns, whether you know them by cage system or not, you know, it doesn't matter really. It's helpful. In fact, I remember years ago on YouTube, being a YouTube instructor and posting stuff, and I saw all these videos come up about the cage system. And I said, the cage system? Dear Lord, I've been playing guitar for, you know, what, almost 30 years at that time. What is the cage system? I didn't know what the cage system was. And then I watched a video on the cage system, and I'm like, oh, well, I know that. That's just the chords as they are laid out all over the fretboard. So I didn't know it as the cage system. I just knew where the chords were and how they laid out all over the fretboard, right? So you can know this stuff organically, or you can use a trick, which is very helpful, gets you there much quicker than the route that I went, and many of us before, many of those who've gone before us. But nonetheless, what I did for this is I said, okay, G minor. Again, I'm not way up in the stratosphere here, and I'm not down here. I'm wanting it to be a solo, so I'm wanting it to stand out. So what I did is I come about the middle of the guitar here, and because those are the frequencies that I'm wanting to hear for this particular band setting, okay? And again, it's in G minor, so what I did is I came up here and I thought, you know, you know, G blues scale would be right here, but that's more just for reference. I'm not playing the blues per se, although it's a little bluesy, that little end riff there. But what I did here is I said, okay, I got the first chords of G minor. Now check this out. Here is a G minor as well. A G minor chord is right here, right? Now, in similar fashion to what I showed you before, I'm doing this thing where I'm cognizant of the chord and I'm trying to accentuate or use those notes, but they're not the only notes that I'm playing, because that would be real boring if I was just like, there's nothing wrong with that, but it's less solo-like and it's more like a rhythm guitar part. So I'm in this higher section here, we're hearing higher frequencies, but then I'm also not just playing the chords, I'm playing some notes that are within the scale, but resolving to notes in the chords. A more simple way to say that is, I'm laying on a lot of chord tones, and the ones that aren't chord tones are just notes in the scale. And there's only 7 notes in the scale. Okay, 99.99999% of the time, there's only 7 notes. The one guy who's saying, oh, what about atonal music? Don't listen to these yahoos that try to throw one monkey wrench in there and mess it up for everybody. 99.999% of the time, you're talking about 7 notes in a song, okay? They're just played in different ways, different combinations, etc. Okay, so here we go. So for that first chord, that G minor, I've got a G minor chord here, right? It looks like the E minor chord, but I've got it right here on the G. And so the first riff is, pretty cool, right? Here's my chord. Okay, probably do it in tune though. Now, notice that the bass of that chord I'm using, or the basic structure of that chord I'm using a lot. And then I'm using 2 other notes in there. That's all I'm doing, is using 2 other notes. Here's my chord, my basic chord. Okay? Folks will say, well, yeah, but what about the rest of the chord? You're not holding it like the... Don't worry about how you're holding it. That doesn't matter. This is the chord. So is this. So is this. You know what I mean? It's just the chord is the 3 notes that make it up. Okay? It's not how you're holding it per se. I mean, that's a byproduct of it, but again, we're just looking for 3 notes here, and these are the 3 notes in the chord that I'm using. You know? But I start off with this little dissonant note, which is that, again, there's that add 9. I'm using the, right? Just like we did earlier, we used an E add 9. I'm using a G add 9. And I'm just, in this case here, let's see. For the most part, I think with the exception of one note, I'm playing this whole solo on strings 1, 2, and 3. Again, exploiting, there's several things I'm exploiting. I'm exploiting chords, I'm exploiting those 3 strings instead of bouncing all over the place. I could do it if I wanted to, but it's just creates continuity, right? Playing on the chords, I'm playing on strings 1, 2, and 3, and I'm also using some similar tones and some similar patterns, okay? So 3 things there that are making that pleasant to the ear. So here's my G minor chord. Again, now I'm gonna go. I mean, that's the G minor chord there. But I'm throwing these other embellishment notes, like this one. They wanna stay there for a second, but they wanna resolve. Right, so. Next chord, so. Now we're changing the chord, so I'm gonna be changing my thinking. So now what I did is I said, okay, well this is a D sharp or an E flat, however you wanna look at it. So I went to D sharp up here. Okay, because that's in the area that I'm at. I don't want to jump down here. I want to stay up here because all the notes are going to kind of mesh together and make a really cool sound. So now here's my D sharp or E flat, however you want to look at it. There's my chord. I don't have to play the whole chord. I just need to be cognizant of the notes so that I can exploit whatever notes out of it I want to. Yeah? Okay. So the second part is. Okay, so again, here's my chord, but I'm embellishing it, because if I just play through the chord, it's not going to sound very exciting. So I'm pulling in some other notes from the scale. So this is what I do. It's just the chord, but now I'm changing. And I love the way that sounds right there. Just nice and dissonant. I love it, right? So that's my second chord. So third chord, or third measure, we have an F and a D7. So for the F, what I did was I said, okay, right here, here's my F. E, F, and I'm just doing a basic A major formed chord up here. For some of you, I know I'm losing some of you right now, and that's okay. It's literally why I constantly tell you about this promotion or whatever it is that we're doing to get you inside the Unstoppable Guitar System, because those first 30 lessons, friends, are gonna build this foundation where you're not gonna be lost with me. You're gonna be like, I get it, I got it, now I'm racing, all right? But if you don't have the basics, no, you're not gonna get it. But you can always come back to this video after you go through the first 30 lessons of UGS, all right? The description for the current promotion is in, the link for the current promotion is in the description of this video, okay? You get the entire Unstoppable Guitar System for $1 for 30 days. Get out before the 30th day if you don't want to pay, and I will give you the entire how to play fingerstyle guitar. It's like 40-something videos. I will literally give you that for free, along with 3 private live webcasts from me, so 3 hours worth, next Wednesday. Okay, there you go. So, here we go. We got the first part, we got the second part, we got the third part here. So this is an F, and I said, so I just stayed on the F chord right there, right? So here's the F based off of an open A major chord, but we're just moving it up to F like we can do everything with the guitar. Just move it up, and it's just in a different key, right? But I'm not playing this note, don't need it. The other guitars are playing that. So what I did is I just I barred this, and I'm playing some embellishment notes out of the scale. And then I end it with this cool little blues lick. Okay, so again, maybe I can make this nice and slow for you guys. Let's see. Okay, so now I'm going to play it a little bit slower, and it's going to go like this. Here we go. So here's the, remember, G minor. I'll play it again. Now, I played this solo twice in the song. So the second time, it's just like Running with the Devil, right? Eddie Van Halen, he plays that solo twice, but it does a little embellishment at the end. And as a little tip of the hat to Eddie on this one, that's what I did. I repeated the solo, but I changed it up at the end. So the second time, it goes like this. Okay, so fun little lick in the end there. Fun, right? Alrighty, good. Do we have time? All right, let's do this now. Let me get to some questions. All right, let me get to answering some of them questions here. We'll see how far back we were. Let me see. The chain, okay, yeah, there we are. Okay, here we are. I think I'm in the right place now. I'm just looking at questions now that that would be new for this tune, okay? Okay, if you have any questions, now is the time. Thank you, Marine Mama. Super sweet. You're always so kind. Okay. No questions, just chatting amongst yourselves. That's good. I like that. I always like that. Okay. All right. Greg, you're not hearing my vocals very loud, okay? We'll try to turn that up. What to do after the first 30 lessons? Keep going, 31 lessons, etc. The promotion that we're doing right now allows you to get in there and try the whole enchilada out. If you want to do monthly, you can do $19 a month. We also have a lifetime membership if you want to do that. Ah, beautiful, Richard. Love that you love this. Thank you. Ah, thank you, Pat. Yes, I love this guitar. So this is my road Gretsch, because I was bringing the 59 out to the desert and jumping around like a idiot out there, and I just thought I was being pardoned by the guitar gods. They're like, all right, you can do it right now, but like, come on, like, that's an expensive guitar to be doing that with. So that's why I got this guy, and it's not as expensive, about the 20% of the price of the other. Okay. Less than even. David's saying, I prefer slow melodic soloing over shredding for the most part. Is the color on the back wall periwinkle? It is today, but we can make it whatever color we want. What is for lunch? Oh, I'm fasting today. Otherwise, I would say probably burritos, but I'm fasting today because normally Monday's my fast day, but I was traveling yesterday, and it's nothing worse than traveling and fasting. Gotta have some snacks, man. Could you just explain your arpeggio concept? Okay. You're gonna have to tell Daryl. You're gonna have to tell me specifically what you mean by that, because I feel like that's what I've been doing the whole time. But you got to tell me specifically what you mean, and I'll try to answer that question for you, bud. 3 scales every blues guitarist should know: the blues scale, the pentatonic scale, and the blues scale. You just know the blues scale, and you're good. All right. I do not know Brian Kelly from Zombie Guitar. Does your program cover right hand placement and where your left hand should rest? Oh yes, it covers all that. The model of acoustic guitar that I use on YouTube a lot. Now I have several of them, but if you're talking about the big one, the big Gibson, oh you are, the Gibson. It's an SJ200. It's my favorite. Okay. What's that? And I almost broke it. Yeah, I tell you guys all the time, and I'm gonna jump into this next tune here. I tell you all the time, right, to humidify your guitars. Well, that one was in this studio, or at least the last studio, and I did not do that. And so what happened is it split down the middle, and it was a lot of money to repair, and I got Tom Murphy from Gibson to fix it. He's the guy that relics all the Murphy guitars, the real expensive Les Pauls. That's Tom Murphy, who does all that work, and he's a pro. But he fixed that guitar for me, and now it is literally like new. Okay. Okay. All right. So let me see what this question was here. Arpeggio chorded fragments is what I'm using. Yes, correct. But in its higher frequency. So Daryl, it sounds like you're wondering how to get those chords up the neck. Daryl, cage system. Watch any videos on the cage system. I have some. Search YourGuitarSage caged, and I'll show you how to understand where these chords are further up the neck. That's probably what's keeping you back from that. Okay, so let's take a look at this next bit here. So this song is called The Man, okay? Let me get this guitar in tune first here. Okay, here it goes. It's gonna go something like this. Might be a little hot there, Mike. All right, here we go. Okay, so I'll play it. Let me make sure this loop is right, and then and then I'll explain how I'm doing this, okay? So it's gonna go, okay, so here you go. Here are the chords. It's like I'll see. First chord is a. First chord is a B flat. Then a D. Then a C. Then a G. Okay, so it's a B major, B flat major, D major, C major, G minor. Okay, remember I said a lot of chord progressions are 4 measures in length, or 4, 8, 12, 16, 32, that sort of thing, but divisible by 4 usually. And so here we have 4 chords, 4 measures. So we have, you can write this down, B flat major, D major, C major, G minor. Okay. And here's what I did, is I said for the B flat major, I'm just playing. Now look, that is straight up the chord that I'm. Right, that's straight up the chord that I'm playing there. But again, I'm exploiting. That's what I'm doing. Is I'm exploiting a few strings, and I'm trying to exploit the notes out of the chord, throw in some embellishment notes so it sounds cool and it's not so boring. Okay, so here we go. So what I'm doing to create a little dissonance here is I got the chord here that I do. That's from my B flat. So I said a D major, it's not, it's a D minor. B flat major, D minor. I lied earlier. It's not D major, it's D minor. So B flat major, D minor, C major, D minor. Okay, and so notice what I did there for the B flat major. I'm playing the B flat major chord. Throw in a little color note, otherwise it would be boring if I went. You know, that'd be boring, right? Boring. So here I got. The other thing it does is it creates something for your ear. It's a hook for your ear to notice, because I go. That's called a rhythmic motif. Okay, we can have melodic motifs, we can have rhythmic motifs, and a motif is nothing but a musical idea that's usually repeated. It's also called a signature lick, and something when it's played, it catches your ear. And so what I did here, that's yet something else that I exploited, is that I exploited that one note, or at least the rhythmic motif. For the first 2 chords, it's the same. For chords 3 and 4, it's different, but the rhythm stays the same for all 4, right? So I go. B flat major. Now notice for the D minor, I'm just playing a D minor chord, right? But I keep that little motif going. Okay. And then for the C major. Now why would I play C major? Well, I mean, why would I play that for C major? Well, there's a C major chord right here. But again, I'm just choosing to play a couple notes, a couple strings. Okay, so now I got back to my B flat. So I got B flat major. Okay, D minor, C major. That's suspended. I suspend that note, but it doesn't matter. You don't have to know that. Just play a color note out of it. Play a different note that's not in the chord. Same thing with the. Right, so. Okay, so now, the reason that I brought it up further up is I didn't want to play the same thing over and over again, and I wanted it to go up. I wanted it to crescendo. I wanted it to get bigger, right? We can do this. We like this when this happens in movies and songs and what have you. We like when they drop the bass or there's that big chorus or whatever. That's literally the whole point of art, right? It's the ebb and flow, all right? The dissonance and the consonants, and in this case here, same thing. So. Okay. So what I'm doing here is, and I don't even know, I imagine I thought about it when I did this, so I'm going to analyze it literally right now. So B flat major, let's say B flat major, here's an A, here's a B, here's a B flat, and there is our C-shaped form, but just moved up to B flat. And so I'm just playing the two top strings. I don't need to play the rest of the chord. Playing a daggone solo, right? And I throw those notes in there because that's what I was doing down here. Now I resolve that. Because my guess would be it's in my D minor chord. With my D minor chord, I'm just playing the top two strings. I'm exploiting those two strings. Right? And then I go to C major. Okay, and here's my C major chord arpeggio. C major, I'm sorry, I'm getting carried away. So here, my C major is B flat, D minor, C, B flat. That's literally, these represent the chord. Right, so. Yeah, right. It's literally that easy, friends. Let's get to some questions. Let's get to some questions here. I'll see what we got here. Oh, Marine Mama, thank you so much for the burrito fund. So kind. Okay, I know it's the chord progressions. Yes. Thank you, Bob. Anyone on the fence should really consider the lifetime option. It's well worth the money and is always being updated. Really love being a member. Thank you, Bob. So kind. But it's in the higher frequency. Yeah, Daryl, I think that you would benefit from the cage system. I think that's where you're having an issue. Okay, it's the cage system as in the caged chord shapes. You got it, Daryl. Check it out. So you have a C major. Look, there's four. I mean, there's five open, major open chord shapes. That's all there is, 5 of them. C major, A major, G, E, and D. And so, if this is C major, here's C major, here's C major, C major, C major, C major, right? You're gonna need more than that if that goes over your head. So search YourGuitarSage Caged and I'll show you exactly how to do that, okay? Pat's saying, play that funky music, Sage. Yeah, it was a little funky, wasn't it? Okay, sure, but in a minor way it was funky. B flat triad, yep. So this song's in G minor. It's a good question. I think it's in D minor. Yeah, it's in D minor. And I just did that with my ear. I took the D minor scale and played it. The reason that I question it is because Gabe, who writes these tunes, he's our singer, he does some really cool things with chords where he kind of twists. He doesn't start the chord progression off sometimes with the actual chord, which is very common in music. So he doesn't. And so it kind of gives you this like sense of like, well, what key is it in? Which is kind of cool. How do I improvise on major chords? Daniel, that's a real broad question, and even that broad question is not very, the way you asked it is not very accurate. It's okay. It just means that you need to fill in some of the spaces. So Daniel, start in the first 30 lessons. There is no free ride, or what should I say, there's no skipping anything when it comes to music. People that do that find that there's holes in their playing. Okay, so yeah, they skip stuff, but you can, take the short way to work, or you can take the nice scenic way. You skipped all the pretty stuff. You don't get to see the pretty stuff and get to work on time. You get one or the other, okay? So how to improvise on major chords? There's more to it than that, you know what I mean? So much more to it. But get in the $1 program that's below. You're gonna see it, okay? Willie's saying, where is Emmy? Emmy is no longer with us. I was gonna say she's flown to other places, but that sounds like she's not with us anymore. She's not with us, but she's with us here on the earth. Okay, so yeah. No questions. And whoa, that's the Caged indeed. Yeah, exactly. Yep. And in fact, some of the stuff that I was doing with the chord progression, when I played that earlier, I'm literally using all those chord shapes from the Caged system, okay? Tony is saying, is there a particular song type or genre that this approach is best suited for, or is this just pretty much universal? Tony, it's universal. It's just, you have to say, well, does it fit for this song or doesn't it? So like if I was playing this sort of thing in this area of the neck or even in this area of the neck, and there was another guitar player with distortion playing, overdrive, it's probably not going to sound as good because there's too much going on. When you go to a party and you walk into a room and a lot of people are talking, even though you can see everybody talking, it's really hard to decipher one conversation because all of the other frequencies are masking what it is that you're trying to hear. Conversely, if you're in a room, a very big room, and there's only one person talking, chances are you're going to be able to hear everything that they're saying, okay? So same thing when it comes to frequencies. Use your logic. There's a bunch of frequencies being played in the lower bout of the guitar. Don't do your solo there because it's going to get washed out. Do it higher up. Vice versa. If they're higher up, you might want to do something low or even higher up than them. Okay. So what I'm trying to do for this particular instance is I'm the only electric guitar. There's two nylon string guitars, which are even more subdued than a steel string guitar, and drums. Okay. We didn't even have a bass player yet. So, there's bass in the audio recordings that you're hearing, but nonetheless, I'm trying to fill out a big space, which is why I do this. So use your common sense there to go, man, this could be filled out more. You don't need a degree or something to do this. You just literally need to use your common sense. And what do you like? That's what art's all about anyhow. What do you like? That's why one thing resonates with you while something else doesn't, okay? How are triads different from chords or arpeggios? It's all the same notes, isn't it? Yeah, kind of. Chord is a more generic term. Arpeggio is a broken chord. So this is a chord, right? And if I play it like this, That's an arpeggio. It just means that you're breaking up the notes. You can do that with triads. You could do that with 4, 5, 6 note chords, doesn't matter. But nonetheless, a triad usually relates to major or minor 99% of the time. It can also mean augmented or diminished, but not as often. 99% of the time it's going to be major or minor, and triads are just the 3 notes that make up a major chord or a minor chord. In the case of a major chord, it's a 1, 3, 5 from the major scale, right? So you have your major scale. It's the 1, the 3, and the 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 1. That easy. And then 1, 3, 5. That makes up the major scale. And if you wanted, or the major chord, if you wanted the minor chord, then it would be 1 minor 3, 5, or 1 flat 3, 5. Okay? I cover that early on in the program. So if you are like, Eric, I do not want your 3 private lessons for just the UGS folks next week. I don't want 3 hours of that. And I don't want a 40-something lesson course for free on fingerstyle. I don't want any of that. And I don't want to test drive the Unstoppable Guitar System for 30 days for $1. What, do you think I'm a sucker? If you're like that, then you might want to get just into the free program where it's the first 30-something lessons for free. YourGuitarSage.com/30, and I will teach you the majority of like the triads and all that stuff right in there. Okay, cool? All right, awesome. All right, let me get to just a few more. How to melodically mix and match major and minor, specifically in the 12-bar blues. Oh man, that's a 10-hour discussion, but I have a video for it. Search YourGuitarSage Major Blues. YourGuitarSage Major Blues, and I'll talk to you and I'll show you how to do that. Okay, how to get past intermediate stage of guitar. Practice. You obviously just want to keep practicing, keep learning stuff. You got to be either learning in some way, either learning on YouTube, if that's a pain in the ass, get in a program like mine or somebody else's that you resonate with. You know, look, if you want something, you got to go after it. You can't, you know, pussyfoot around and wait for it to come to you. When it comes to guitar, you have to go after it. Okay, you can't just sit there and wait for the good vibes to come to you and wonder why after 30 years you're not playing any better. You got to go after it. Okay, so you got to get in a course or something like that. Okay. How to get past intermediate? Keep practicing. Get in a course. Learn. Okay. Am I being too harsh, Mike?
That's not harsh.
No. Okay, beautiful, Michael. Great playing today. I like the chord solos. Beautiful. GoPro guy's been awesome for me. Good. Yes, finally getting it. Marine Mama. Yeah. Okay, beautiful. I learned all the major scale shapes, but I can't seem to improvise that well. What can I do to overcome this? Practice. It's only practice. So get a chord progression, a good chord progression that you like. Check out projamtracks.com on YouTube. We create lots of jam tracks that you can literally, in fact, friends, do this. Check out Pro Jam Tracks, subscribe to that channel because I specifically create jam tracks that show you what the chords are so that you can do exactly what I'm talking about here. Instead of like just doing it by ear, you can see a visual of what chord you're on at that time and practice this, okay? But that's how you want to get good at it. You have to practice the one chord progression with a minimal amount of chords so that you get the hang of it, and then you can always bring in more chords later. But obviously, if you're juggling, if you can't juggle 4 balls, you might want to try 3. If 3 is too many, try 2, etc. Okay? Okay, someone's saying that that I don't show them how to play modes. Don't worry about modes, Tamid. 99.99999% of all the playing that I've ever done and every other guitar player's done, unless you're talking about maybe some jazz musicians, and even they are not necessarily thinking in modes. 99.999% of everything that you hear is the major and minor scale. It's not modes. You got to understand that. The tonality is not friendly to the ear. Yes, you can use them. Yes, you can. But I'm just telling you that most of the time you don't. So get good at the major and minor scale. I specifically don't show you certain things because I feel they're a waste of time. Okay? But I do show you the scale. I do show you the modes. But again, without context, it doesn't mean anything. Okay? Okay. Tall 32 guy, new studio, not just a new background, new studio. Entirely new studio. We'll give you a tour of it sometime later, probably next week. We're crazy busy this week. Okay. Yes, friends, if you want to donate, we just got another kind donation from Rick Fuqua. Thank you so much, buddy. Fill those holes in your playing. Go pro. Indeed. Thank you, Rick. The bottom left-hand corner of the screen, you'll see a little US dollar sign. If you click that, you can donate to the Mike and Eric Burrito Fund. Okay? Beautiful. Diamond Lou. He knows what I'm talking about. Pro jams are clean. Well-made backing tracks for practice. Beautiful. Okay. Good. Woo. Lots of questions coming in. Yep. Yeah, exactly. Get a looper pedal. Very helpful. Beautiful. Thank you, Drew. Okay, beautiful. And Mike just posted in the chat here. Friends, we're going to go because we have some videos that we need to cut today for a special project that we got going on. So we are gonna call this one. But friends, thank you so much for being here. Mike just posted that link. If you are not in the Unstoppable Guitar System, friends, you've got to be, okay? Thank you, Tall 32 guy. I just got back from Florida, so I should have a little bit of sun on me. Get in the Unstoppable Guitar System. I make it so daggone easy. Number one, if you go to YourGuitarSage.com/30, you literally can forever have the first 30-something lessons in the course. That's a lot of material, friends, along with PDFs and all the rest. That's how most of the thousands of people who are in the course have gotten started in the Unstoppable Guitar System. So go there. Or better yet, take advantage of the promotion that we have going on today. It's in the description of this video. Click on that link. Basically, you're going to get a test drive of the Unstoppable Guitar System for 30 days. If you don't want to be charged, get out before the 30th day, okay? Don't get out like 28th or 29th day. Don't do it on the 30th day and make me run around like a chicken with my head cut off. Thank you. Get in there, try it out, $1. You get 1,000-something videos. It's a massive value. It's insane. I'm kind of insane to do it, okay? Not only that, you're gonna get 3 live broadcasts, not like this, but private broadcasts with Unstoppable Guitar System folks. A lot of them are here right now. That will be not this Wednesday, but the Wednesday next week, okay? 3 live 1-hour broadcasts with just UGS folks. Get in there. You're going to get that for free as well. And to boot, if you get out of the Unstoppable Guitar System, you test drive it, you take the 3 live lessons from me and all the rest, you still get how to play fingerstyle guitar for absolutely free. It's 40-something lessons. That's a crap ton. I'm literally giving you 70 lessons and 3 free live webcasts from me for $1, okay? So please take advantage of that, friends. It's there for you. Friends, thank you so much for being here. Hopefully this helped you. If it did, you know what to do. Thumbs up. If you didn't like it, hit thumbs up twice. Send to a friend. Leave your comments below. All the rest. We're back in session. School is back. And we're going to show you the new studio. We're going to do a lot of great new things here coming up, friends. So thank you so much for checking it out, and I will see you.